So in this video, I'm going to talk about what is the actual expenses for a student when he is studying masters in Norway. So if he is a student and he is studying in Norway, how much he has to spend? So what are the major things he is going to spend and how much he has to spend? Let's see one by one. So Norway is actually a rich country. The cost of living in Norway is relatively very higher. And if you are a student who is going to study masters or PhD, most of the time you have to mainly spend a lot of money on few items like accommodation. So accommodation is the major thing where you have to spend a lot of money for living abroad. Almost like 60% of your money goes into accommodation, expenses goes into accommodation. So talking about accommodation expenses in Norway, it can vary differently based on your choice of living. The most and least expenses for accommodation is the accommodation provided by the university. So those are the very least, like expenses. These are provided by the universities like SIT in Norway, and you have to share the housing with 4 guys or 2 guys. Depends on the sharing, things. If you have to share with 4 guys, you have to pay a minimal amount. Keep in mind, you will have always a separate room for you. The bathroom and kitchen you have to share in most of the cases. This student housing are really cheap. I would say this cost around 4,500 kroners to the least, and the maximum it can go up to like 6,500 to 7,000 kroners if you want, like 2 loft apartment student housing, or you have to share with very less people. And the next housing is like private housing. If you are taking outside apart from the university provided housing, you have to pay little higher expenses. You have to pay almost like 8,000 kroners or even 10,000 kroners for a single private apartment. So you have to keep in mind based on your comfort and your personal demand. Most of the students, they stay in the university provided apartment. So that will be cost between 4,500 to 6,000 kroners. That's the cheapest option, I would say. But some students, that is the university housing is quite small and they want to have a bigger apartment like their home. So they will go for other apartments like the private housing. There are different private housing in each commune, like Trondheim, Oslo, Bergen. Each commune, they have the private housings. But for students it is subsidized, but still it will be little expensive than the university provided apartment. You have to pay extra for the electricity, for internet sometimes in the private housing. But in the university provided apartment, everything will be included and you will be paying some amount. But that also will vary based on apartment to apartment, but mostly it is same for everything. So the next major expenses a student has to spend in Norway is for the food. Norway is getting really, like a highly inflation country. Every year the inflation rate is really higher. It's soaring really like a rocket. So this not only in Europe, but most of the Western countries in USA, Canada also. So this is a common problem. But in Norway, when we are talking about the food expenses, around 2,000 kroners to 3,000 kroners per month. If you are, like cooking and eating, I'm telling this range. If you are eating more frequently outside, then you have to pay like 4,000 kroners or even higher. It depends on the restaurant and everything, right? But if you cook your own food, you can manage between 2,000 kroners to 3,000 kroners. Food is really expensive, and if you even buy some products, the cost of products is really higher as well. So the best and smart way is like you cook your own food and you eat. So that's best and effective way to reduce the money. So if you're considering for the food expenses, you have to pay like 2,000 to 3,500 to the maximum. The next major expenses a student has to spend from his pocket is for transportation. Transportation is quite expensive in Norway. There is a well-established public transport in Norway. To take the bus pass, you have to pay like almost like 600 kroners per month. 600 is a minimum. It can go up to 800 kroners per month based on the different commune from different region. So if you're taking for 6 months together, it is more benefit for a student in long run instead of taking for only 1 month. So if you are a student, just try to take it for 3 months or 6 months, or 1 year also. You have this a concept called period ticket. Here you can take the ticket for like a period, like 1 month also, like 3 months also, 6 months also, 1 year also. The longer you take, you actually pay like less when compared with individual months, so taken individually. So keep in mind, this transportation is very expensive, and you have to pay almost like 600 to 800 kroners minimum. So the other expenses is for book expenses. Most of the cases you don't have to pay for the books, but some cases, sometimes for some related books which are copyright prevented, you have to go and buy the book. For example, in Norwegian courses, if you are about to study the language course, they recommend you to buy the like the book from the book shop. That can vary around 250 kroner to 300. So if you are buying some additional miscellaneous items for the studying things, then you have to spend some little money, like 400 kroners per month. So it depends on the person. If you are about to enroll in those courses and if you are going to buy, then you have to spend. Because mostly you don't have to pay anything for the book. Everything they will give the material nicely organized and nicely structured material they will give, like PDF, PowerPoints. The study that itself will be enough. But if you want to get some more knowledge, then you can refer some main authors in that subject. You can also refer them as well. Apart from that, the other expenses can be the miscellaneous expenses. It can vary between 1000 kroners to 2000 kroners. If you are going out and eat sometimes outside, if you're going for a party with students, and if you are partying indoor or outdoor, or sometimes you go some hiking activities. Norway is known for its nature, right? So every students, they love to go with groups for different hiking places. So you have to the hiking is organized by free most of the time, but if you are going to take some car or from shared things, like you have to split those bills, right? So those things you have to pay a little more, and that will can cost between like 1000 kroners or 2000 kroners based on the activities you do, what type of restaurant do you eat, what are the things you are actually doing. So the additional things it can add to that one. So overall, I would say for a student in Norway, 8000 kroners to 12,000 kroners is really that's what the student is going to spend in Norway. So 8000 kroners is the minimum amount, I'm telling. If he is doing self-cooking and he is staying in a university apartment and he is not eating outside a lot, and he is not spending too much, 8000 kroners is perfect enough. But if he is staying in a private apartment or he is eating more frequent outside, then he has to spend like 10,000 kroners. And if he is doing more parties, then he have to spend like more than 10,000 kroners. So keep in mind, these are the different expenses in Norway. And if you want to cut your expenses, I would say take like a shared apartment with many students, so that the rent will be less, and just cook your own food. The cooking materials, if you buy for 2000 kroners, it's more than enough for a month. You can eat 2000 to 3000 kroners is going to come, and take the bus pass for a long period, and that will be helpful for you. And avoid spending too much money for alcohol and other expenses, like partying things. So that can actually help you to save more money. So if you found this video useful, and if you want more contents about any countries, like for Germany, Sweden, and for USA, just type your questions below, and our team will make, and we will provide you the good informations. Our goal is to open up the right information to the students. Now every information available is not so reliable. That's why we have actually grouped with different professors from the university and industry experts to share the reliable information to the students and to guide them in a better way. So thank you, students. Thanks for watching this video. We'll see in another video. We see Snackers.